Got a lot of highlights to bring your way on an all-new episode of Sports Pass. Should be a great one as winter sports coming to a close.
Yeah, Sam, will be action-packed, so get your snacks. We got the sports season wrapping up here with section play.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that even a few teams have ventured into the postseason. We'll get you all caught up on that and more. Follow me. We're headed down the Sports Path.
He had a breakaway scoring opportunity.
And they score! The Zep.
Welcome into an all-new episode of Sports Pass. Sam Erickson, John Miller, excited to be with you as always. Should be a great show, John.
Oh, yeah, it should. You know, we got a lot of action-packed, as I said. Get your snacks. A lot of good basketball, good hockey, boys and girls. This is going to be a fun 30 minutes here.
Yeah, and if you've been following along here on SCC, it's been an exciting winter. Have a lot of Fab Four schools doing big things, not only in hockey, but in basketball as well.
Yeah, lots of star players. You know, you got good news. You got the guys from Tartan, Anton Kimmins. I mean, a lot of exciting play in Section 4A is going to be nuts.
Yeah, we'll have some highlights of those two teams, a little bit of info on them as well. And I think we'll get this episode started as we always do. We'll scour social media for the past couple weeks looking for your best content. So starting the show as we do with the social media montage. All right, well, this week was a historic week for the Tartan boys basketball team. So we're going to have a little bit of news on them. Last night, the Titans beat the Simley Spartans 60-56, and that marks the 20th win for the Tartan boys basketball team. And even more exciting news, yesterday marked the 20th consecutive season of 20-plus wins. That's right, for 20 seasons in a row, the Tartan boys basketball team has had more than 20 wins. And with only 26 games during the regular season, that means they have had less than 6 losses each season for the past 20 years. Now, since 1998, the Titans have been to 9 state tournaments, only winning a title once in 2000. But all of these years, they have been under the same head coach, and that is Coach Mark Klingsporn. So great job to Tartan High School. They sure are the team to beat year in and year out in the East Metro. And how about head coach Mark Klingsporn over there? I know you and I have seen him in action. Not surprised to see that stat. Well, a little surprised. I mean, that's a pretty impressive stat, but not surprised to see the success over there at Tartan.
Sounds like somebody deserves a raise, if you know what I mean, if they hadn't already. Doing great things over there at Tartan. So now we'll move from basketball to hockey. The White Bear Lake girls hockey team has once again had a very successful season. They upset the Mounds View Mustangs by a score of 3-1 in the semifinals of Sections 4 2A tournament, and then they took on longtime school rival the Hill Murray Pioneers. Unfortunately, the Bears were unable to come with that W, and the Pioneers move on to another state tournament. But, you know, that didn't stop the fans from White Bear Lake cheering on White Bear Nation, and they stood and applauded as the team took home their second place medals. And I assure you folks, they got a bright future, and they're going to be looking for that state tournament bid next year, Sam. They could feel it.
You know, we talked about our Fab Four teams doing big things both in basketball and in hockey. White Bear had a very good season there. Nice job. Well, that looks like that is it for our social media montage. Don't forget to find Suburban Community Channels on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. You can always tweet at us. Me, I'm at Sam SEC TV. John, you're at John SEC TV. Let us know what is happening around high school athletics in the Northeast Metro. We'll get it on the show. But for now, that is all we have for our social media montage.
So now, after talking about the White Bear Lake girls hockey team, we'll check out the girls Metro East standing for hockey. Let's take a quick look at how the girls' season ended up, starting with the Metro East. Matamidi finished in second place, just behind Hill Murray, with a very impressive 9-2 record. The Zephyrs finished the year 18-9-1 overall. They actually won 8 of their last 9 to finish the season, and those efforts were not enough for Matamidi to get ahead of South St. Paul in the section play, with the Zephyrs getting the 3 seed and the Packers getting the 2 seed. But we'll take a look at that bracket here in a minute.
Yeah, but before that, we'll get to the standings in the Suburban East, where we got White Bear Lake. They went unbeaten in their final 5 games of the regular season to end up near the top in a very competitive conference this year. The Bears finished behind Forest Lake, who finished with a 12-3 conference record. And you got to wonder for the Bears, they could have taken business elsewhere. They could have had a chance at a conference title as they beat Forest Lake back in December 2-1. Forest Lake is going to be your conference champions. But we got a couple of Fab Four teams playing some really good hockey going into the postseason. And with that, we'll take a look at some of our section brackets.
Yes, we'll start with the 4 single A bracket. As we mentioned, Mahtomedi got the 3 seed right behind South St. Paul. St. Paul United actually got the 1 seed. Mahtomedi picked up an easy 5-0 win their first game against the 6 seed St. Paul Blades. That booked them a rematch with South St. Paul in the semis. These two teams split the regular season series. Luckily for you, we got the highlights of this much anticipated semifinal matchup. And I got that one for you right here as we take you to Doug Woog Arena, where the Mahtomedi takes on the Zephyrs, courtesy of Town Square TV. And now South St. Paul starts off the scoring with Savannah Lennar. She dumps it back to McKenna Emery. Emery nets the first goal of the game. 12:31 in the first period left to go. Now Mahtomedi will eventually get a goal of their own. Loose puck will be behind the net. Eventually Kylie Krozik will pick this one up, and she puts it in the net. No defenders in the way. 1-1 with about 8 minutes left in the second period. Now I'll take you to about 54 seconds left after the Mahtomedi goal. McKenna Emery takes it on a breakaway. She's got the speed all by herself for her second goal of the game. That sets the Packers up with a 2-1 lead. Now Mahtomedi will get into some penalty trouble. Down 2 men on a 5-on-3, or should I say women. Well, the Packers get an easy one there as the Zephyrs struggle to kill the penalty. And that would give them the 2-1 lead with about 1:29 left to go. And now Brooke Deering netting that goal. Now moving on to the third period, just as Rambam takes it up near the side of the goal. Goaltender Johanna Fickadenny doesn't know how that one made it in. You can see the look of defeat on her face. The Zephyrs are down 4-1. Now with about 5:40 left in the game, Mahtomedi finds a glimmer of hope. Tara Skillings fires it from the blue line. It goes between the legs of another Zephyr, and fortunately goes between the legs of the goalie as well. It's 4-3 game. Now with about 2:20 to go in the game, Packers get a puck on the turnover. Kind of unfortunate for the Zephyrs because they were in the process of pulling their goalie. Johanna Fickadenny, a player, jumps over in her place. The Zephyrs in a really tough spot here, stuck at the end on the ice with no goalie. Eventually Tara Skillings gets the puck right in front of the net. She tries to loft it down the ice. It gets batted down by Katie Klostermeyer for the Packers, who gets the empty netter, not the usually empty netter there. Now the Zephyrs make it interesting through Maren Ryan. She picks up the puck at the blue line, fires it in on the net. Ali Franco is there to tip it in, making it 5-3, and that would be 4-3 without that empty netter. There's still about $1:30 left to play in the game, but momentum of that empty net goal was just a little too much. It's a 5-3 final score. The Zephyrs end their season in 4A semifinals to the South St. Paul Packers. Ali Franco had 18 goals and 18 assists on the season for 36-point totals. And, you know, the Zephyrs have a few good seasons ahead of them as Franco is only an 8th grader, as she was my athlete of the week a few weeks ago here. And we'll keep an eye on here, surely an interview at least once or so in the next 5 years. So we'll see what's going on with the Zephyrs.
Yeah, taking a look at that tournament bracket, South St. Paul picks up the victory and books a place in the final where they were going to take on St. Paul United. And St. Paul United picking up the win, so they will be your Section 4 1A representatives at the state tournament. They were runners-up in Class A last year, so I'm sure they're going to represent Class 4 at the state tournament very well. Now looking over at Section 4 2A, where it was an all Fab 4 matchup there in the quarterfinals as we have White Bear Lake, the 3 seed, North Tartan, the 6 seed. White Bear Lake got themselves into the semifinals where they took on Mounds View. Mounds View won their opening one against Woodbury 5-0. White Bear Lake, though, pulls off the upset in the semifinal over Mounds View 3-1 with goals from Sydney Sheeran, Lauren McLean, and Sophia Verkerke. Unfortunately, we don't have the highlights of that one, but that would be the end of the road for the Bears as they got shut out by Hill Murray 4-0 in the final, but a nice run for White Bear. And as we saw from that tweet earlier, congrats on a nice season. They were getting their runner-up medals, but it was a good year for the Bears on the ice for those girls.
Yeah, it always seems like Hill Murray just in hockey, no matter boys or girls, has White Bear Lake's number. But, you really can't tip your head down because you lost to Hill Murray. They're a great team. And this White Bear Lake team's led by Sydney Sheeran. She's just a junior. We'll talk about her a little more later, but they got some good times ahead, Sam.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for White Bear Lake that they have to draw Hill Murray in the postseason year in and year out, but always a good test if you're ever going to make it past them into the state tournament. You're going to feel good if you get to the XL.
Yeah, if you feel like
going through Hill Murray.
If you could beat Hill Murray, you could take it to the house, and you can win a state tournament, as they always have a chance to. So
yeah, so shifting from girls hockey over to boys hockey, where we got a couple teams doing some big things as well. We're going to start off with a highlight, and this is when Owatonna visited the St. Croix Rec Center to take on Matamidi. A couple of the top teams in Class A here in the state of Minnesota, and Owatonna is actually going to get the scoring started with Colin Peterson getting the power play goal. That lead would quickly diminish as on a 3-on-2 breakaway, Joe Paradise shot it, but Sam Ide came up with the rebound goal, put it into the empty net. But we're all knotted up at a goal apiece. Zephyrs now on the penalty kill. Long pass ahead for Colin Hagstrom. Hagstrom goes over to Charlie Bartholomew to put the Zephyrs up 2-1. That was a shorthanded goal for the Zephyrs, and now their special teams is looking pretty good. Some of the students get in on the celebration there. Another long pass ahead in the second period. This is Cole McCarville. He'll take it himself. He goes 5-hole to give the Zephyrs the 3-1 lead. Nice finish from McCarver there. Now into the third, it was still all Zephyrs. Jeff Neal centers the puck for Sam Jensen, and that would be a 4-1 lead. 4 different players getting on the score sheet so far for Matamidi. And finally, puck floating towards the blue line. Wyatt Begley passes it towards the crease. Nikolai Dulak has a nifty backhanded pass to Bartholomew, who nets his second goal of the game. And that would be it and your final score. Zephyrs take this one 5-1 in non-conference action. So win there for the Zephyrs. Out of conference, we'll take a look here in a second at how they sit in the Metro East. And looking at those Metro East standings, we got Matamidi, finishing the year with a very nice 7-3-1 record. We got 2A school Tartan also having a nice year, finishing 17-7-1 overall, while picking up 9 of their wins in conference. And then North St. Paul certainly held their own at 6-8 after losing arguably their best player to transfer this season.
Yeah, it's always tough. And now on the Suburban East, if only the White Bear Lake Bears could have beat Cretin back on January 20th, where they lost 5-4, and that was enough to see the Bears finish second and Cretin on top. It should also say something about the quality of the Suburban East this year, as White Bear Lake got the 1 seed in Section 4 2A.
Yeah, well, and speaking of those sections, here is a look at the boys section tournament. And we'll take a look at the first bracket, that is Section 4A. Again, our Fab Four does not disappoint with Matamidi getting that number 1 seed. Matamidi will play Friday against the winner of tonight's matchup between St. Paul Highland Park and St. Paul Academy. Puck drops in that one in about an hour at 8 o'clock. Matamidi will play the winner of that one at 6 o'clock on Friday down at Aldrich Arena.
Yeah, and as you know, the rest of our Fab Four occupy Section 4 2A, and as we mentioned, White Bear Lake got the number 1 seed in that section, and Tartan gets the 4 seed behind powerhouses Stillwater and Hill Murray, so daunting task. North St. Paul ended up with the 6th seed. Play actually already got underway in this section, with Roseville beating Woodbury last night handily 4-1. And everybody else starts their action at Aldrich Arena. It should be a great day of hockey as always. It starts with White Bear against Roseville at 11 a.m. So bright and early, get your sticks out, get your caps on. It's going to be a fight.
Oh, a lot of people hang out there all day for all 4 of those games. We'll be covering the semifinals, so once the dust settles from that one, hopefully be covering White Bear Lake, I should say, in the semifinal. They're the number 1 seed. We talked about it. Always a hurdle to get past Hill Murray in the postseason. White Bear Lake looking real good this year, undefeated in the regular season against section opponents, but you never know comes playoff time.
Yeah, White Bear Lake actually beat Hill Murray for the first time in the regular season this year, for the first time in about 13 or 14 years. I can't remember exactly. So they got things rolling. They know they can beat Hill Murray now. And, that's got to go a long way for their confidence. You got to think that they can run the table to win the championship.
Oh, and definitely finishing ahead of Stillwater, who was the representative from the section in the state tournament a few times recently, beating them and finishing ahead of them in conference accomplishment as well for White Bear. So we're all pulling for you. We know you can do it. And with that, I think we're done with our hockey coverage. And we'll switch over to basketball, but definitely looking forward to that Section 4 2A hockey tournament.
Yeah, time to see how the basketball is going. And Sam has the Tartan versus North highlights for you guys. This would be a great game.
It sure is. I was there for the doubleheader. We started off with the girls, and Katia Cummings started off for Tartan, getting the scoring started with a big three-pointer. But unlike last year, Tartan started off this one with 33 unanswered points. North getting on the board early. And we got some nice play from India Kirkwood. She got 2 right there. Now Madeline Sloan battling through the paint, getting a tough bucket to make it 13-10. But Gabby Hicks is going to answer here, gets a pass over onto the wing. Nothing but net on the three-pointer, and that makes it 16-10 Tartan. Now on a transition, India Kirkwood's going to get another 2 points the hard way. She goes up and under to make it 16-12. But after that, it's going to be all Tartan as they go on a huge run. North will finally get another basket after it's 32-12. It's 32-14 now. But Tartan up, and Tartan increasing that lead up 40-14 now. Get a big three-pointer. I believe that's Angelina Mims hitting it from beyond the arc to make it 43-14. Tartan's going to come up with a steal here. Navia Mosher going to make an easy, uncontested layup. And to close out the half, Tartan went on a 36-4 run. So we knew this Tartan team was good coming into it, but playing real good basketball on the night. Into the second half, Madeline Sloan getting North on the board again with a big three-pointer. The senior captain played well all night for the Polars, but Tartan was just a little too much. They get another three-pointer, that one from Angelina Mims again. And then this is Brianna Bell getting wide open from beyond the arc. That is her only three-pointer of the game, gets it to rattle home. And that would be pretty much it for this one. 64-30 is the final score. The Polars continue to struggle the past couple years, but after the game, we caught up with Gabby Hicks. She had 6 points on the night, including a big three-pointer. Let's see what she had to say.
I think our hard work in practice and our team building and like working as a team and just coming together is a big key. I think with the new coaching staff, it really like opened us up to an open mindset, and we really just like, we're all open to like coming together and like working together and starting a fresh season. I feel like we're going to do really well in sections. I have a lot of confidence in us, and we're going to work hard in practice and hopefully go far.
Yeah, so starting out a lot better that game. Last year, North St. Paul didn't score a point until Tartan was up 32-0. And as you can see, North St. Paul not having a good year here at 0-13, 3-22 overall. But don't look now, Matamidi is absolutely destroying the Metro East Conference. They have a 12-1 conference record and are 22-2 overall. Their only conference loss came a few weeks ago to second place Hill Murray, who's having quite a season themselves. Emma Grotehouse is leading the team with 22 points per game, and they are currently ranked third in Class 3A by the Star Tribune Basketball Hub. And Tartan has slipped to 5-7 in the conference. A little disappointing for how well they were playing last year, and that's near the bottom. The still very young squad led by sophomore Yazaria Chevre, who is averaging 15 points per game.
And looking at our only team in the Suburban East, White Bear Lake, after making it to the state tournament the past couple years, hasn't improved from our last episode and is now 12-13 overall with a 7-8 record in conference. Now the Bears only have one player averaging double digits, and that's Courtney Crouch at 10 points per game. But that's not really a surprise for many people familiar with this team, as they play a lot of team basketball, share the ball in terms of scoring, and always a dangerous team when we're talking about postseason because they play good team basketball. Maybe it hasn't been the regular season they would have hoped for, but Coach Post knows how to coach it down there, and he always has his team prepared to go into section play and maybe upset a team or two.
Yeah, they always make a nice run in sections. You know, they're returning a lot of players that they had from last year, Jordan Fair and Courtney Crouch and a few others. They need those players to step up because they're not doing it this year, and if they step up in a big way, this team could go on a good run, Sam.
Yeah, and a lot of times sharing the scoring on a basketball team is a good thing. You know, when you concentrate so much on one scorer, maybe it's easier to defend, and we might see a little bit of that in one of our highlights coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely do play great team basketball, but we'll go to show you great team basketball here from Tartan versus North boys basketball. And this was the second game of the District 622 showdown, and Sam just showed you the girls game, how that turned out. This one was nothing like that one. And Tartan boys start out just like the girls. Andrew Jacobs Whitmore hits a three from the corner to put the Titans up 3-0. And now North gets right into the game, however, with an and one from Good News as he drives the lane. 9-3 after the free throw. North is up. Now Tartan does the same thing, drawing the foul on the other end. 9-5 now. They've cut the lead to 4, 14-26 left to go. Now good news right back on the other end. He hits it from distance, stop and pop, drains the three, 18-7 now as North pulls ahead. Now Andrew Jenkins Whitmore continues his three party, makes it 18-10 with about 9:21 left to go. And a bit later, sophomore Brendan Langford Johnson, he'll hit his own three, 23-12 now, and this game has been all behind the arc. Now Bryce Phillips gets the 10-point lead near the end of the first half with the running jumper off the backboard. He's always got game. Now DeJuan Carter shows off his range. As you remember last episode, we had a little NBA highlighter thing to show how far he could shoot it from. Gets the Polars up 38-30 going in the second half. Now the lead quickly diminishes. Kenton Miller adds a three, and that ties the game up at 50 apiece. Now 2 minutes left in the game. Tartan takes their first lead since the first 3 points of the game. Anton Kimmins misses his first shot, gets the rebound, and he puts the Titans up 59-58. Now Tartan stalling with the 1 point lead and 50 seconds to play. Anton Kimmins wide open under the basket to put Tartan up by 3 with an easy shot. Tartan holds on. That's a 65-60 win for Tartan. The whole game they were down until the final 2 minutes. It was quite the ending. Coaches were both fired up to get the win. Players were pretty fired up as well. Anton Kimmins scored 30 points. We'll highlight him a little later. Had a great second half that earned him the Prep Athlete of the Week for the Star Tribune. Great accomplishment for another team leader after Jordan Horn graduated last year and now is completely balling out at Siena. Sam, I feel like every time I hear about him, he's just blowing it up over there.
Yeah, we were going to see how tough it would be for Tartan to replace him, but according to our tweet from the montage, Tartan gets 20 wins pretty regularly, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised to see them with that impressive overall record at 20-4. Now Tartan's not going to win the Metro East after that game, even though getting the big win. North St. Paul's pretty much got that locked up unless they blow it in their last 3. But right now, Star Tribune has Tartan ranked ahead of North St. Paul in the Class 4A rankings, and that is something that Tartan, and I think the resume of Coach Klingsborn has something to do with that. You know, I mean, the history there with all the 20 wins. So even though North St. Paul got the edge in conference, Tartan getting the edge in the standings. We're moving on to our next highlight. This is Stillwater and White Bear Lake. Stillwater getting it started, but here's Jake Begler for White Bear Lake responding. That's 2 of his game-high 19. A little bit later, Bears running on all cylinders. They're up 8 now as Beckler finds Sam Schwartz. Schwartz tallied 16 on the night, and the Bears are up double digits there. After a timeout, the Ponies down 12, looking to cut back into the deficit. This is going to help as the corner jumper from Rex Seidler cuts it to 10. He had 12 on the night. Things move fast as a fast break layup from Isaac Tessier, 2 of his 15. Ponies roar back to close the half. In the trap, Devontae Hatcher in the right spot at the right time, makes a move, goes up, and gets the bucket. The Southwest Minnesota State commit getting in on the action again. Gets the block, going to work. Hatcher led the Ponies with 15 points. So they get the ball to him again. This time, he turns it into the distributor and gets it out to Evan Parker. Parker knocks it down, as we know he can shoot it. The ensuing possession, Rex Seidler again getting in on the act, and it's back to a single-digit deficit. Ponies really working well at the end of the half to get back into this one. But towards the end, Ponies took control. Bears took control, holding off the Ponies. I think we got our score wrong there, as the final tally would read 63-52 in favor of the Bears. So we did have our score wrong there. Bears get the win in the Suburban East Conference. So nice win for White Bear Lake.
Yeah, let's see if we could throw up those boys Metro East standings again later on. But first, we'll take you to White Bear Lake, where White Bear Lake would take on Roseville just last night, where me and Sam are on the call. Scoring started 2 minutes into the game. Slow to start to this one. Pass across to Cameron Walker. Fakes a shot, drives baseline. Roseville with a 2-0 lead. And it wasn't long before Devontae Munson got started. It would be his show, jumping a pass, taking it to the basket. That would be his calling card all night. Gives Roseville 4-0 lead. Now a little give and go from Roseville. Nolan Wald gets his first 2 points of the night with an easy layup. Makes it 6-0 as they start the game out hot. Now, well, after a timeout, Coach Jeremy Beckler, the star player for White Bear, gets a nice dish to put in 2 points. For that, they cut the lead to 4. White Bear Lake's finally getting going. Now Beckler showing he can shoot a little bit too. A little three-pointer gives White Bear the lead at 13-10. Still pretty low scoring, more than halfway through the first half. Now right before the end of the half, Johannes Gebayu hits a three. He would be on fire all night as well to take back the lead. A very low scoring, but also very close game. And now Munson would take the lead as he hits a three. And now we'll see White Bear Lake dish it into Beckler. Beckler takes it off the board right over the players. You just couldn't stop him from towering over the players. And now we'll take you right back to Roseville. Gebayu hits his second three-pointer of the game, 33-31 now. This game will be a little back and forth for the next few minutes. White Bear Lake's full court press falls apart, and Roseville gets their biggest lead. And that one's taken by Walden. He gets the easy two for 39-33 now. And Roseville would just keep hitting three after three. And this one's pretty much over at that point, 42-33 now. And that's the end of it. White Bear was unable to fight back in the second half. Beckler finishes with 26 points out of 40. That's over half the team's points. You just can't win like that. White Bear Lake, though, is having a great season after a dismal last couple seasons. 6-20 last season, 4-22 the season before that, 10-16 before that, 2013. You have to go all the way back to see when they had a winning record. And this year looks like they'll probably be back above 500 with Beckler leading the way. And Beckler's just a junior, so he'll be there next year as well.
So after that tough loss, the Bears moved to 13-10 overall, as you just saw. They sit in the Suburban East, kind of right there in the middle. We just saw on the 6-7 conference record. But as you mentioned, John, they're really improving things and got a couple of core juniors that are going to lead the way next season.
Yeah, I mean, Beckler is just outstanding player. I mean, I kind of doubted his range yesterday because we haven't watched White Bear Lake much, but man, he drilled that three from downtown. But they need somebody to definitely step up and score, Sam. We noticed there are two players who are right behind him in points per game, scored 2 and 4 points last night, and you're not going to beat a decent team like Roseville if that happens.
Yeah, and it was definitely a game plan to get the ball to Beckler, but maybe a little bit too much, as Roseville really keyed on that on defense, and Beckler put up a lot of points, but as you can see, White Bear Lake as a team unable to put up a lot of points, and that led to the L. Yeah,
we were talking about, just coaching-wise, you got to figure out, you got to tell your guys just to take some shots, get somebody open, and we talked about if Beckler, if he just gets a little stronger for next year, this White Bear Lake team can take that next step.
And we thought they maybe wanted to slow it down a little bit, to prevent Roseville from having the ball a lot, but I think in a close, even matchup like that, I think they would have been a little better to shoot the ball a little bit more, take some of those open looks. Sam Schwartz, certainly a good shooter. He probably could have hit a couple of shots in that one, but I digress. Maybe we should move on, John, and I think you got a couple athletes of the week for us.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks and plenty of outstanding Fab Four performances. It's time for my athletes of the week. Now for my male athlete of the week, I have to go with White Bear Lake junior hockey player Sydney Sheeran. She had 1 goal and 1 assist in the second round section win over Mounds View that we covered earlier. And on the year, she led the Bears in points with 43. Those coming from 19 goals and 24 assists. She'll return next year, as we talked about, and she's going to be trying to get the Bears to the state tournament, and I have no doubt that she can do that. Now for my male athlete of the week, I have to go with Tartan guard, who Sam was talking about earlier, Anton Kimmins, in their home game against rival North St. Paul on the 13th. He had 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists to lead them to the win. They may not have a better conference record, as we talked about, North is going to end up winning that conference, which we didn't get to cover, but that win has them raked ahead in most of the polls, and he is the reason for that. This kid's outstanding. Like you talked about, we didn't know who was going to take the baton from Jordan Horn. He's done that. He's having a better year than Horn was last year. It's outstanding. And that's it for my athletes of the week.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for on tonight's show. I want to thank you for watching. For John Miller, Sam Erickson, everybody else here at SCC, we will catch you next time. Our next episode is March 7th, live at 7 p.m. right here on SCC. I want to thank you for watching. We'll catch you then.
Shoot it down low. What an entry pass. I think that was Ellers getting it into Beckler. Lefty guy back the other way. Trickles through and